many episodes is the Dressrosa saga? It's like
I don't
80.
know total. Yeah, somewhere
I
around.
think it's 80.
Let me check.
It's 70. It's 70.
70.
Yeah, because it's technically 629 starts it, and then 699 is the last episode of it. So it's
Yeah, that's
70.
70.
Yeah,
That's 70.
and it's like it's a similar number of chapters.
Oh yeah.
But
Before we get into it, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Make sure we start saying that first, because that's
yeah, we
where.
probably should say that first.
Yeah. But like, comment, subscribe, y'all know. Jump in the comments. Let us know how it's going. Get in the conversation. Give us the dialogue. We love to hear from y'all.
Yeah, we would. And if there's anything you think we missed or something like that, like a little thing, just
All us out.
yeah, yeah, call us out or be like, oh my god, that's so right. You guys are so smart. That works too. Uh, I don't think anyone's gonna be saying that though. But yeah,
Unfortunately.
yeah. Yet no one's gonna be saying that yet. That's
Optimism.
yeah. That's why we gotta keep grinding. That way we get to the point with people saying that. But
Grand.
but yeah. So we're at the. I I want to say like we're at the point where shit gets real in Dressrosa.
It's pretty much like the turning point is how I would see, like, from where they was all happy go lucky, we're in a new country, yay, to nah, it's time to rock. Like, we start to see a lot of the trope when it comes down to when they get to a new island, when it's like all sunshine rainbows, just kind of taking the island in, stuff like that. We kind of already got into the plot a little bit with them starting the Coliseum fight, pretty much, but now it's time to get into the next part of that fight and start to have some pivotal moments start to happen, and the Dressrosa arc really start to open up to us uh, in this watch through this part of the Dressrosa cover that we're doing.
Yeah, and it's also like the part like how you're saying like the sunshines and rainbows part where it's just like they saw where it was all nice and pretty and everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
this is like where you find out like Dofi's actually just like an asshole.
Scumbag.
Yeah, like he's just a piece of shit, and he's just like everyone that's not happy. He just wipes their memory from everybody that is happy. That way they can go back to being happy.
Like, legit, for real. Like, if he literally does something, and I'm pretty sure our U.S. government wishes they could do, and just wipe the memories of pivotal people who kind of threaten his reign. That's literally what he does. Like, Sugar's devil fruit power, which we'll see on display later here in this part of ours, literally does that. In the greatest scheme of everything, is like just wipe. You,
But
you, you turn
also
to the toilet and the whole
like
thing goes away.
her power is like one of the most OP for a second fact. It makes you basically immortal. Like not like the like you can take great physical damage stuff, but you just stop aging completely when you eat it.
Yeah, I think like
But it like the
her
downside is that you still are like a kid at mind.
yeah,
Like you never mature outside of a certain point, but you never age and you're practically
yeah,
immortal.
because their souls bound to the toy. And I don't think because Kiro's lost his leg, and I
Yeah.
don't think he ever got the wound cauterized or anything.
Well, it's not just that. It's sugar can't age. I'm not talking about the toys. I'm talking about like Sugar herself.
Her.
Sugar can't age. Like
But
she's
yeah,
stuck as far as we know, she's stuck a kid forever. Like we don't know if she can die of old age or not. Mainly could, but all we know is that whoever eats the hobby hobby fruit just stops aging, which
but yep.
is like that's kind of broken. Like from just like a stamp. Like, can you imagine if like somebody like OP got it? Cause like you don't age outside of a certain point, but you also keep a kid's brain forever, and a kid's brain is like the best at learning stuff.
Yeah, and it would be crazy because another thing is like, does she just turn people into toys? Could a different user like turn them into some other kind of entity? I wonder.
Well, so, or like, could you like make them like if your definition of toy is different? You mean like what could you turn them into? Like, what's the extent of what you could turn them into? Like, could you like turn them into Beyblades and then like, but like actual like dangerous Beyblades with like saw blades and shit on them? You know what I mean? Like the spinning top dude off of Hunter x Hunter. Like, could she do shit like
Uh,
that?
I would I would imagine that they would still have to have like arms, limbs, and stuff. So like, I was more thinking of more like not just toys, because you go like to like dolls, or like how if a user could change it, could be like could you just make them like a thing instead of like just toys?
Well, it would probably have to be something that's like a hobby. So I would imagine like, but if there's like a
Because what's the
dangerous
actual
toy,
name for her
it's the
fruit?
hobby fruit.
And that translates to like just
Uh,
a hobby. It's pretty much just a hobby. I
um,
know she pretty much goes the whole route. Like when it comes to toys, she goes. You see her like turn people into dolls, action figures, the Nutcrackers.
so it comes from the Japanese word habae. I think is how you say that. It's written in English as HOBI with an accent mark, and it's in Japan, it's what you call collecting and reviewing toys.
Oh, okay, so it's right next to it's directly correlated with toys.
Yeah, so you could theoretically like turn them into any toy you can imagine. I guess.
That's cool. I was just curious about that because it would be, I always want to know how the different users use the same fruit, like how we usually see.
Yeah, like how Ace and Sabo they use it the same power in different ways. You know what I mean? Like Ace digs way more into the Logia thing, and Sabo, like we see over time, he uses it way more into the fighting style he learns from Dragon.
Hmm.
Like how he combines it with the fighting style he learned from Dragon and the fishman karate that he knows. He uses it to like almost like Shinra does.
Like who?
Shinra from Fire Force. Like where he
Yeah, yeah,
uses
yeah,
like the fire to augment everything that he does. Not just like Ace was just like Fire Fist and it's like a fist made out of fire. Sabo's version of Fire Fist is similar, but his other attacks, like his Dragon Claw, like he like uses it like to stretch his Dragon Claw. And it's like the Dragon Claw hits you and then it burns you instead of it just being a wall of fire. Or is it called Dragon Fist Claw? Can't remember. But also the another OP thing about the Hobby fruit is it nullifies devil fruit powers.
yeah. And any power that has nullification in it is just automatically like top tier.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then also the toys are considered inorganic. So like it's gonna be a plot point later on because of the pot fruit. But like
Into
I
it too
wonder,
much.
can you? I wonder
But
if you can use hockey while in it, while a toy. Cause what's it called? The I don't think we see Soldier use hockey. He just teaches Rebecca how to use hockey.
like he teaches her how to use hockey. I don't even know her
Remember,
use.
Rebecca uses observation hockey.
Well, yeah, observation, but
Yeah, he taught her
that's
observation hockey. Um, but it's just an interesting power. It's also funny that it turns them to toys because, like, Doflamingo's power is he's a puppeteer.
That's actually very, very. That's a very, very cool comparison there. What do you
Yeah,
think about that? Like,
like his entire thing is that he's like controlling the people of Dressrosa like puppets. So the people that he can't make his puppet, he just has Sugar turn into an actual puppet. Because if you look, like half the toys are puppets, like that you see in Dressrosa. Like half the toys are puppets. So it's just like a sick sense of irony from Doflamingo that the people that won't listen to him get turned into puppets.
you'll be a puppet of him no matter what you do, no
Yeah,
matter which,
like
no matter which uh road you choose to take. He always makes you his puppet, whether directly or indirectly.
and then it's just it's just clever writing, in my opinion. Like that was one of the connections when I was first reading it. I was just like, that's pretty cool. That's clever, sort of thing. But and I like how they call all the people that she turns into toys the losers.
Hmm.
Because it's like it's the losers of the Coliseum, and it's the what's it called? That is also the losers, the people that won't listen to Doflamingo, and like
That's
the
crazy. That's crazy.
like the like when he leaves, when Luffy runs to go watch Rebecca, like in person instead of on the screen because he doesn't like the angles the screen has. Uh, one of the guard or not guards, but one of the gladiators that's friends with Rebecca has like a very interesting thing to say. His the
You talking about when they was in the? You talking about wait when they was up in the? Not when she was fighting, right? Or you talking
no,
about when
while
they was?
Rebecca was fighting, remember Luffy stays for the first couple of episodes
Yeah,
to talk
yeah,
with all Rebecca's friends that are gladiators that were
yeah.
imprisoned.
In the back, yeah, in the
Yeah,
back.
but one of them says, "I like the manga version of what he says more because it just sounds more like what the fuck."
You
It's
probably got lost in translation.
yeah, it's just it tends to go harder, like the wording. Um, but he says what you saw up there was the bright and shining world of the winners, in quotes, like air quotes, and then Doflamingo divides people into air quotes winners who obey and air quotes losers who resist. He's almost like the world government itself. The air quote losers who stray from his path are treated no better than trash. Of course, the country would look clean and happy if all the trash is hidden away in the dark. And then Luffy's
So
like,
that's
that sounds
a lot of.
similar to the country I grew up in.
Even when you sit there and take it from even Goa Kingdom, but that's synonymous for a lot of things. Like
Yeah,
looking on it now, he says it's like the just looking at what we've seen so far. Like you can even take the Colosseum as just that because, like, of course, the celestial dragons enjoy like fucking little stupid spectacles and stuff like that. So you can look at the Coliseum like that because it's almost when you see the stuff that because later on, which I'm not gonna get into it, but later on we see just how whimsical the celestial dragons and stuff can be, and it's almost like you look at the Coliseum, it's almost like a one-on-one kind of situation when we get to it. I'm referring to the God Valley flashback, which we'll get there. Probably that's probably be soon after when the anime comes back in 2025. What they'll be animated.
yeah. If we're on par, we'll be close to caught up by the time the anime comes back, which is
More than
crazy.
likely, I actually think so. So yeah,
But
I think I actually will be caught up because we're already 700 episodes almost in, and
yeah, we're at 675, and we won't have one on the third.
yeah, so
Uh,
we'll be doing the 50 piece on the like ninth or the 10th. Was
well,
that
we're
what
over halfway through right
yeah.
now, so
Like with every 100 episodes passed, it's almost like it's what the track pretty much feels like.
yeah, yeah, we're. I think the math says we'll be caught up like the second week of March, I think, is where we're on track for. I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's just a lot of little stuff that like comes together. Like it makes sense too that Doflamingo acts exactly like a celestial dragon, because everything he does is he's just trying to re-get his spot as a celestial dragon, or at least recreate it as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, if he can't have the status itself, he wants to create the life himself. And it's all like he used his pretty much lineage to do it too. Like, because that's the only reason he pretty much came to the kingdom of Dressrosa to usurp Ryukunem, because I think the way I saw them explain it was that it was when he first explained about the 20 kingdoms that gave it was 19 that did it. He first said the Nefertari family was the ones who didn't go when he first said that, and then he said that in the place of Dressrosa, the Don Quixote family went instead of the Ryukyu, so he was coming back to take what was his. So he used his lineage to pretty much come and usurp it, and his power, of course. That fucker. But like, he really just came in off of that, and then when the Celestial Dragons told him he couldn't have his spot, he made it. Just like how he said he took the kingdom, literally made it to where it made everybody his puppets, no matter what, to get the outcome he wanted. Like, everything. When you go down to look at it, he just emulating Celestial Dragon's lifestyle, getting what he wants. The only thing is, he's not as like weird. He's still
well,
weird,
it depends on your definition of weird.
Like, he doesn't have personal slaves like they do.
No, if you think about it, he does have personal slaves, because everyone that's turned into
like, he ain't out here, but he ain't out here riding motherfuckers like them. He ain't out here like the people who close to him all the time is his crewmates, is his his crewmates, and he has people who serve him and do that. But as far as like how they have them just ride next to him and stuff like that, he ain't out there doing that. That's where it gets a little extra weird, how he wants like the slaves and stuff do his bidding and all. He ain't doing all stuff like that to my knowledge, but he's still pretty effed up. Like,
well, I just he ain't don't think he wants to do that. I think like if he wanted to do that, he would do that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Like, that's just
see, like, the higher up Celestial Dragon, how they move, because all the ones we've seen have been like the fodder, which some of them is like been higher up and they do that, but I still call them fodder because they really don't do shit for.
Yeah, there's like one Celestial Dragon that's not a piece of shit, and they didn't start off that way. But the whole thing, it's just like, why is he doing all this stuff if he not like he wouldn't be doing all this stuff if he didn't want to be as close to a celestial dragon as possible. And next week when we get into his backstory, like, we see like why he does all of it. Like, everything.
One thing that's crazy to emulate when you talk about, because I look at his crew members doing a lot of this when you talk about how, because like, not getting into his backstory, but thinking about how, even Treble, Diamante, and Pika, how they're looked at, because we see Diamante, how when we look at the fodder, like, Celestial Dragons, like the egotistical, hyper, like crazy. That's why I look at Diamante, like, when you're talking about Celestial Dragons and what they kind of emulate too, because it's like he kind of got them like that. Even Sugar, like, Sugar's really like, superiority type shit. Like
she literally sits in a tower underground eating grapes all day because that's all she wants to do.
All day. Like, and that's all she wants to do. To the point where she got them grapes down to that much of a T, to where she can see a difference in them. Like, well, it's.
I just thought of something. The like, how we say like Doflamingo doesn't like ride people and make them crawl on their elbows and shit, right?
Yeah.
But he does something arguably worse with Baby 5, like, depending on how you want to look at it. Because he manipulates her into thinking that he needs her, just so she will kill anyone he tells her to.
Well, yeah.
And we don't like we'll learn Baby Five's backstory next week,
You look at
but
it like that, it's like, yeah.
like shit, like he psychologically destroys all of his people, like all of them. Like not just like the people that are supposed to be close to him, but just like the people that dress Rosa and everything. And then he just turns them into mindless slaves that have to do whatever he wants. And then there's the stuff with the Tontatas. And the Tontatas are being treated like how the Celestial Dragons treat people. Because we get to see a little bit of the Tontatas. They're literally in a fucking labor camp. 500, it's like 499 of them are in the labor camp where they have to grow smile fruits all day.
The 500 that's in the labor camps versus the what other like number? I don't know if they say how many of their numbers are outside of them, but
I just say 499 because Mon Cherie is like.
Well, they tell us how many are in the.
They told us that they took 500, so that's why I just say 499.
But they don't tell us how many are outside, and but the people outside are being manipulated into thinking that they're just like helping them.
Yeah, like, and really they're just like, Mon Cherie has a sickness that if another Tontata catches, they'll die almost instantly. And the Tontatas are like 3-year-olds, they'll believe whatever you tell them. So
they're being manipulated, thinking that they're keeping them away is helping them. And it's like that whole thing you're saying is about them psychologically manipulating everybody that's next to them just makes even more sense. And the people we think will get there, which I'm so ready. I'm ready to get to Law's backstory now. Like when we see just how deep the psychological trauma went and what happened to the one person who actually resisted.
Or like Law stuff with it, like the whole thing with Law. Or like another, like going back to Smoker, he gets pissed off that Caesar gets away, so he beats the shit out of Smoker at the end of Punk Hazard. Like the only reason he doesn't kill Smoker after trying to torture him is Aokiji shows up and Aokiji's just like, I'll fucking kill you. Like that's the only reason Doflamingo doesn't torture
like saying
information out of Smoker.
A Marine anymore, but he was still a friend of mine. I would fucking kill you.
Well, what's it called? It's if he was a Marine, he wouldn't be allowed to stop him.
Yeah.
But like, since he was not a Marine, he's allowed to fucking kill him.
Yeah. But you remember, like, the dynamic with it was like, the fact he's not a Marine anymore means he actually would kill him right now if he didn't stop.
Yeah, he was just like I'll kill you over my
seeing friend. Him, like, that was the first time us seeing him outside of without Marine clothing on. So it's like you see this dude's like, he ain't held back by formality anymore. Like, the Doflamingo, you better step.
Yeah, he's just like, dude, I fucking dare you.
Like, you better step, my guy. He said, like, you know what I'm saying? You got nothing holding him back. If you do it, don't get up off him right now. And it's crazy how a lot of that stuff go, because like a lot of them dudes I think probably mess with each other just because of formality alone. And it's nice to see the ones that are actually friends, like how Garp, Sengoku, and Suru have that relationship, and how we see what the anime was showcasing, just got finished showcasing, was the relationship between Garp and Aokiji or Kuzan, which I probably should start calling him now since it's not really Aokiji's. It's Kuzan. This is his real name, but
Aokiji sounds cooler.
It does. You do got that right, but flipping a lot of the personalities we see that start to get fleshed out in the Navy in this part now, but especially so in the final saga we're in. But like just having just having all Doflamingo, just having him there and just having him use all his plans and all his like manipulative factors involved, is just, we put all of that together, you really start to see how deep the Celestial Dragon connection really is. And I do agree, I do think it is kind of worse than just ride. Like he's probably not riding them literally, but figuratively. Oh yeah, he's he all on their back, uh, figuratively, all on their
Um,
back.
sorry, I had a
You talk
yawn.
about no, you good. When you talk about the puppeteer stuff, when you talk about the psychological manipulation, when you talk about just how deep the contingency plans and his what do you call it? His awareness, his planning, his you know because there's a lot of things like just a lot, but we gonna get into it. We gonna
Yeah,
get
and
into
then
it.
the whole thing of he pretends like he wants to kill Law, but he knows he can't kill Law because we'll learn next week why he can't kill Law. But like he can't, like he will beat the shit out of Law. Like he brings Law, like him and Law fight on the thing, and he pretends like he's at a disadvantage. And then Law says like the hard ass line of D will bring forth a storm once more and everything. But then he Doflamingo basically throws him into the middle of town. Like just whole ass throws him in the middle of town and then friggin' shoots him in the face. Well, it's not in the face, but what's even crazier is you know how in the anime he shoots him like one time?
hmm
In the manga, he shoots him 3 times
Boom,
and
boom,
then
boom.
licks the blood off his face.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he does have a licking blood moment, but I don't think it's the same. I know it's probably more defined in the manga.
Well, the thing in the manga, it's he's not licking Law's blood off his face. He's licking his own. Or like it makes it easier to pay it to notice that he's licking because it's the he's licking the cut that Law gave him, or like the blood that's coming from the cut Law gave him earlier. And you just don't see like the anime. It's hard to tell that Law cut his face earlier. Like in the
Mm.
fight, like he like rips Law apart. Like Law can't do much, but he does do the I think it's a gamma knife, and he cuts his like the left side of Doflamingo's face. But it's really hard to tell in the anime. Like he licks the blood on his face, but the manga it shows you that he's licking his own blood off his face, which like is very sadistic.
I mean, I'm waiting. That's another reason why I'm waiting on the Wit Studio remake, especially after the One Piece fan letter aired today. Seeing that animation quality and stuff, and that little one shot, it opens up the door for a lot of different angles and a lot of different qualities and graphics that we haven't seen before in the show to be redone. And I know they already told us that they ain't gonna shy away from censorship, so of course that's definitely something to be excited for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that with the less censorship stuff. Though, like, they do a relatively good job with the more, like, caught up stuff to be less censored. And it makes
So,
sense.
yeah,
Because,
I
like,
mean,
the
yeah.
people that started watching the old ones are in their 20s and 30s now, like the original series. Because that's who it's made for. You know what I mean? Like it's made for the people that like started the original series, and the series is what turns 25 this year. Turned 25 this year, I think. Yeah, because it
Yeah,
started in '99. So yeah, so like the average reader of it is probably like 26 to 34, like in that age range. So
I would even go a little younger, say about 24 to 28, or like 24 to 34. My bad.
well, I know
In that
more
age.
people over the age of 30 that like One Piece than I know under the age of 30 that like One Piece.
I mean, I know, like when it comes to One Piece, I mean, I would say
But a lot of that
most
is
people
they
between
read the
24,
manga,
20,
not the
24 and 30.
yeah. But it's just like one of those things just because the people that are there, they like grew up with it. It's like Naruto, like the average age of a Naruto fan isn't like a
Yeah,
kid.
definitely.
It's a,
Yeah, Bleach probably be a better example.
yeah, like the big three in Dragon Ball. Like there's not a bunch of kids watching. That's why, like, once they get to a certain point in it, they're not worried about the like the censorship stuff as much, because it's not like it might have started for kids, but it's not for kids anymore, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's like for the people that started watching it from the beginning, which is like cool that it like grows up with you, like it's. But you only get it from things that last this long. Like you don't get it from like JJK, because JJK was only around for 6 years. Like, don't get me wrong, 6 years is a long time, but like there's or like My Hero was I think it was 11 years. Something it was something in that ballpark. It was like 8 to 11 years. I don't remember when the first chapter came out, because I didn't hear about it until the second season was already out. But in Japanese,
I can't remember when I picked up My Hero.
I picked it up like as soon as second season came out. That's when I found out about it, and I think that was in like 2016.
I remember you telling me about JJK when it was already had 14 episodes of the first season out.
Yeah, that was in 20. The only reason I know about JJK is because I was stuck at home for a week because I had COVID.
Yeah.
And I was just scrolling through stuff. I was like, that looks cool. But yeah, it's just cool that since we've seen it since the beginning, like people have seen it since the beginning, it's like especially like the structure. Like we were finally far enough in when you can see like the structure over because this came out in I think 2015 ish. The anime came out in like 2016, but I think the manga of Dressrosa started in like 14 or 15, and you can see the structure progression from the early stuff to now. Like the progression is much smoother, and then there feels like I know it's not actual filler, but it feels like time filler in the episodes, like a lot of stuff that doesn't matter. Like a good example in these episodes is when Luffy tries to attack the Sunny, and there's like an entire minute of right after Law uses Shamble to teleport Doflamingo away, where Doflamingo's like, y'all gotta run, go, run, get out.
About. That was right when he set his sights on the Sunny, and
yeah, and it takes like a whole minute from Doflamingo to get from what previously took him a second to get to the Sunny.
Because that's when they revealed that his what is it, Ito, I think.
I don't remember the actual name for the string fruit, but I know the English name is the string fruit.
Ito, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But he can only attach strings to clouds so get out.
It is the Ito. Yeah.
Yeah, get out and go to a cloudless area because he can't follow you. That was around the same time when Sanji had intercepted him, which was like aesthetically I really enjoyed. Ever since watching.
Hold up, your mic just cut out. Your mic cut out. Yeah, it's back.
Like this was around the time when Sanji had intercepted him, was about to intercept him, and you know it was a good moment aesthetically from Sanji because I've been paying attention to his hands.
Your mic just cut out. All that
just
cut out.
It's probably because hold on, let me set the computer down. Probably because it's in my lap. I'm seeing the snowball now. What does it look like? Sound good?
Yeah, it's not. I think it was just like the thing came loose for a split second.
It just went up. I'm seeing it on my side. Sorry, guys. How's it?
That should be good.
But like aesthetically, Sanji and Zoro.
It just cut out again. It just cut out again. Yeah.
Hold on.
You might need to unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
can hear you.
All right. Um, but nah, like Sanji and Zoro's moment in and themselves, kind of comparing them. I kind of see Sanji as the guy who's keeping everything together. He's really just the dude trying to be in the right place at the right time right now. And like this was just a good moment of that because he was intercepted Doflamingo like with some of the same speed that it took him to get there. Like he was already en route, yeah, but it was like him intercepting Doflamingo like around that time because he did have to up his speed and saw that he could really move. Like he's not just in the air for show. He really is like walking in the air, got control over his speed and his posture and all that in the air. And yeah, sacrificing himself, telling him to go ahead and burst away and save himself while Doflamingo's right there. Doflamingo did rock him, but Doflamingo
Yeah, he
definitely
was
gave
gonna
him.
kill him.
Oh yeah, and that little move from Law kind of saved the fray.
Yeah, but it's just how long it took. Like there was like all the extra stuff. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like the pacing, or not pacing, but it feels like filler stuff where it's just like I'm telling y'all gotta leave, and they're just like I don't think we can leave, and then it takes a second to convince them all to leave.
But that was one of the things I think showing how still one of their weaknesses right now, which is them not being able to fully function without that extra leadership. That's where it started to come in. I think was the birthplace of it, where it started to come in, where it started to have to, um, somebody else they had to take the leadership from someone else because we know hindsight 2020. We know that they're about to split up again for like the second significant time. But
Well,
for
there's also the whole thing like right after that, Sanji still feels he has to ask permission to do stuff.
but that's just out of respect for the captain. I think that's gonna always be there.
Yeah, but like what I get in is like he was.
He's not confident in it.
It's not that he's not confident in it. Like Luffy would have told him to get out of there and get to Zoe if he knew what was going on, sort of thing. You know, when they're just like, we can't leave him here. Let's be real. Zoro and Luffy are gonna be fine. Like the crew knows that, so they're not gonna be stranded there.
And it's
Everybody
good
knows
that
that.
and I'm pretty sure, excuse me, I'm pretty sure they all know that Sanji being there as an anchor, they'll be fine too because they understand Sanji's strength. That he's strong enough to be the one to take over for them while everyone else is Luffy.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure they'll all be more than fine. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
like the whole thing. Like they're more than capable than taking care of themselves.
And we know Luffy has faith in his crew. Just one thing, faith in people.
Yeah,
Sees the
that's
thing
true.
that's on display right now with Luffy telling his crew.
Yeah, he's like
When you
he's
talk about, especially when we talk about having faith in people, I ain't trying to change the subject because, but like we were just talking about um the with how these people getting turned into toys and stuff, and they still know that the toys still know the situation, but they can't really tell them some the faith they all kind of have to have in order to keep going. It's kind of going to be one of the tropes of the arc where we see just the blind faith just kind of on display in every kind of situation because even just keeping it to where we are now talking about the split up, you know Luffy always this is always really displaying his faith in his crew. We've seen it with in the recent what was it? I know Fishman Island was one when it was like um your crew's about to get ready to the what you call is about to get ready to do your crew in. He said I got faith gonna do. I'm trying to remember. I'm really drawing a blank. I know he did it in Punk Hazard. I was finna that moment too when it came down to about the kids and stuff when he sat and he waited um when they were about to leave and stuff. He's like, no, I'm waiting on my crew and all that. right before. I think it was right before. It was right after the Virgo thing. You know, when the gas was coming and they were running. I think they were on the back of Brownbeard. I think when they was trying to escape the gas.
I don't remember off the top of my head either.
But having his unwavering faith that his crew is going to be where they need to be in any moment, or the unwavering faith that they'll get whatever task that is set before them completed safely and, you know, securely. It's like how he tells crew to go ahead and go to Zoe because they know the danger that they're in right now.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just there's like a bunch of added stuff that like took away from the other good stuff that was happening. But it's like neither here nor there. It's just a observation. But one thing that's real funny to me is the Frankie and Senor Pink fight that happens here. Like we don't get the Senor Pink like backstory, but we get to see them fight. Frankie just shows up and he's just like, "Fuck y'all, coup de vent," and then him and Senor Pink starts fighting, and they start talking about like how manly they are and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it cracks me up, cause friggin' Senor Pink is just like, a real man never attacks his opponent from behind. Like, and that's how his accent is and everything. Like he sounds like he's trying to sound like Antonio Banderas. You know, he's like never attacks their opponent from behind, and his entire fighting style is based on going underground, popping up behind his opponent, and suplexing them. What the fuck, dude? That is hypocritical as hell. You know what I mean? Like his entire fighting style is.
That is true. That is very true because it's like, because now giving it another thought, I do like see we'll get. I think his backstory is in the next.
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah, it's in the next go around. But when you talk about like a man never attacks his back, yet your whole thing is around behind them, flexing them on their neck.
Yeah, your entire fighting style is sneaking behind them to suplex them. That's your entire fighting style. Yeah, that sounds super hypocritical. So like, why? What is that thing? What is that they're doing?
I feel like that gives Frankie a little bit more points because it was like Frankie still kind of plays into his own game still. Like, he doesn't really complain about it. It's like, okay, that's what you think. You want to do what you do? Okay, I'll do what I do. But conclusion.
But not remember, even Frankie's just like, wow, he's so manly. This is cool. We're gonna have a man fight, but then he fights like a pussy.
I think it was really for his own benefit at that point.
But
because I think it's something Frankie would have wanted to indulge in, whether it was.
But also, you gotta remember, like, if he fought him a different way, he would never win because Frankie's virtually indestructible from the front. Like, that's like, because during the fight when the Navy shows up and they start shooting him and doing all the stuff, he just stands in front of them and he's just like this shit don't matter.
That's true too, though. So it's almost like, it's like, what do you like? I mean, I guess Senior Pink knows that.
But here's the thing: if Senior Pink knows that, then it proves that he's not actually manly because he's attacking from the back because he knows he'll lose from the front.
I can't rebuttal that.
Like, it goes against his own definition of manliness.
I mean, I can't rebuttal that. Y'all might be able to rebuttal corrupt.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it contradicts his own definition.
It's the only thing, because it just basically would mean if he's manly, would he just surrender, or would he just go with what he knows? Like
the whole thing is like, I never attack from behind. No, your entire fighting style is attacking from behind. Thank you very much. Your devil fruit's cool though. The dude in My Hero did it better, but
I mean, I was even finna say Seraphim, the Jinbei Seraphim does it a little better.
Yeah, but the dude in My Hero that has the same power, like he
about, the clay, the fuck. I can't.
No, there's the dude that can swim in any solid material.
He's he's in the 2A class, isn't he?
I think it's 2B class.
to be whatever it is. Yeah,
But
we ain't talking about
it's like,
Mudman. I think that's him.
yeah, it's something like that. But it's just like your entire fighting style is based off a technique that attacks exclusively from behind. But you're claiming that you're such a manly man that you'll. But I think that just goes into the whole, like, it highlights, like how we talk about everyone is a nihilist, that the Straw Hats fight. Like, if you break down how they think about stuff, they're nihilist.
Mm-hmm.
I think that adds to it. When we learn Senor Pink's backstory, you learn he's actually a nihilist. That's why he dresses like a baby. Because he thinks he has nothing to live for anymore. Remember?
After the whole thing with pressure.
Yeah, like, if you remember, he doesn't think... So, the only thing he has that he lives for is being manly. Like, his definition of manly. And then another guy that's so confident in his definition of manly. Like, that's the entire reason Frankie wears a fucking Speedo everywhere. Is, like, he's so, like, steadfast in his own definition. So when he sees someone that's even manlier than him, he immediately just has to forsake everything he believes to beat this man. Like, if you think about it from, like, a thematic or, like, the motif of it, like, the entire thing that he's doing is just, this man is manlier than me. Hell, he's even a robot, which is, like, the manliest way a man can be, if you, like, want to look at it in that regard. But then he just, you know what I mean? Like, name something, like, every man wants to be either part robot or part dinosaur. Like, change my mind. Like, and Frankie's part fucking robot. So that's, like, manlier than Senor Pink. And Senor Pink wears a fucking, like, baby bonnet and sucks on a pacifier. That's not manly, but he's, like, trying to pretend that it's manly.
I think Frankie's style is trying to embody what the Japanese think America's supposed to be. With the star, the super thing, and all that, like, with
I wouldn't be all the guns.
Like the guns.
He has 8 guns.
Like, yeah.
Not counting the air cannons and a flamethrower, and I think he has 8 rocket pods.
Yeah, and how he goes, like, when you talk about how he especially no disrespect to nobody at all. Please don't take any offense to what I'm about to say. I don't mean
or
that
take
at all
offense.
but,
we don't care. I'm just kidding.
Like, when you talk about Japan's view on, like, America and the outside, it's crazy that Frankie's a shipwright. He fixes ships and he builds ships, and you know, if he's if I'm right with his embodiment of America, that's just funny.
Well, actually, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Because, like, what if it's, like, the regard that, like, Americans make such good ships that the Japanese had to blow themselves up to destroy
what was
them?
the thing? I mean, at one point in the world, the Americans had, like, the best naval fleet, like, ever.
Probably.
Like, Roosevelt and shit like that. Teddy Roosevelt and shit like that. Conquest and shit.
Well, there was a time where, like, your Navy was, like, the greatest military might, you know? Like, there was a time where it was, like, ships matter, like, before it became, like, Air Force everything, like, Air Force, it was, like, Navy was, like, the big, like, big dick in the locker room sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could think of, like, every battle that America had with Japanese was, like, a naval battle. For the most part, except for the nukes, like, everything else was, like, Navy battles and fighting on islands and stuff. So
yeah,
so like it could be.
Like, that's why I think Frankie's character is what it is, because it's trying to embody, you know, the flamboyant style, the Speedo and all that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's at least part of it.
We can go into a whole video with symbolism with, like, American culture. I could really go deep about that, but like, the Senior Pink thing, like, I do see when it comes down to, like, his nihilistic. He doesn't. I think it's really, like, his whole thing is he has, like, even when you see, which we'll go into next week, we're gonna get deeper in his backstory, like, touch on, but a lot of stuff when it comes down to the nihilism trait he embodies. Because even in Prussian, when in his backstory, you see like a lot of him really trying to live the double life of being the gangster and also trying to be her husband and whatever. And then you see when everything goes down, when she has her accident or her crisis, and he loses it, it has an identity crisis of who itself, and then reverts to the one thing that kind of was his, I guess, was the thing that kind of, I guess he kind of wanted or kind of like him, but he just kind of lost his, just went straight to baby, which would be best to. I have a different opinion about it when we go actually see it for next week. But like you see identity being one of his things, and oh my, a real man never hits back. Identity crisis. You get your identity and do suplexes. Like you go against the identity you just declared. So I think that's probably a thing that kind of look at wants to get to their conclusion of their fight is like probably something that he realizes at the end of it.
Yeah, it just shows like everyone is every not really foil, because no one's really a foil except for maybe Teach to anybody in the Blackbeard. Nobody's the actual foil, like the Joker to their Batman sort of thing, except for maybe Teach is for Luffy, maybe. Like
yeah, we'll probably. I think it's gonna
maybe
we'll probably see how Teach's plans really start to unfold more in these later chapters where they're caught up now.
But
I think gonna start to be like how you say the foil. He's gonna be the real anti-Luffy. Start doing stuff that goes against Luffy or interfering because he still has Garp. That's what I'm waiting on. That revelation, but neither here nor there. We'll get there. That's down the line.
Yeah, there's just too much. What's the right word? Too much parallels between everyone that fights a Straw Hat being a nihilist, and then the Straw Hats being like, nihilism's for losers. Like, that's basically how every fight goes down. Like, when we get to the Bellamy rematch, you know what I mean? Like, Luffy's just like, why are you such a nihilist? Like, why do you hate life this much, dude? Like, that part's gonna happen. But for now, like, you see, like, Frankie's just like, you call yourself a man, but you're not really a man. That's just the only thing that lets you sleep at night. That's the only reason you're still alive, is because you feel like calling yourself a man makes you a man, makes you not hate yourself for your life. But Frankie's just like, see, look how much I love life. I'm going to restyle my hair in the middle of the fight after it got caught on fire. Like, because that's how much I care about life, is that I want to face death with a nice haircut. But Senor Pink can't do that shit. Like, sure, he, like, takes a full blast so his subordinate behind him doesn't get hurt. But at the end of the day, he's not doing it like the reason Frankie's doing. Like, if you remember Frankie, it's just like, no, we're not abandoning the Tontadas. The Tontada, I'm sorry, boss. Like, when he talks to Frankie, he's like, I'm sorry, boss, but I can't leave the Tontadas here without helping them with this battle. Because, like, the thirst for life that these little guys have is contagious, and so I gotta help them now. I'm sorry. And Luffy's just like, I 100% understand. You have my permission to go, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then you could say like Usopp is a nihilist, but like his entire story is his entire dream is to no longer be a nihilist. Like, that's his entire dream. Like, and, like, become a brave warrior of the sea.
Like, you can see Robin was a nihilist.
Yeah, like the whole Ennis Lobby stuff.
And she's probably the biggest when it comes down to there, because I think it was going to end up coming out, if it ever was to come out, that Luffy was supposed to actually inspire people and stuff like that. I think Robin is going to be the catalyst for just for how her story's been just for how tell you want to live, and then how she's acted after all of this, like how she's pretty much treated nihilism as a joke. It's probably why she's so playfully negative all the time.
Or like when you get into Wano, like she just accepted that there's a dark part of her that's a nihilist, and she's gonna do her best not to, but she uses that dark part of
She
her to
uses a
fight
weapon.
finally. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
she
she
uses it as the
finally
true
like
weapon. Literally,
like
we're gonna get there. I'm excited to saying, oh, y'all call me a demon child. Okay, let me show you the demon. And just
yeah.
weaponizes the actual demon manifestation and beats the shit out of Black Maria, who was doing nothing but asking for the fucking demon. Poetically, I love it. Like just asking for the motherfucking demon. Okay, bitch, you got the demon then. Excuse my French, excuse my language, anybody hearing for real. Ask for the demon, you got the demon. And oh, it was a good showing. Yes, it was. And like that's what I like about Robin's character. You know, she just really like the negative stuff, everything she's been through, it's always there. But she's probably the most like when you talk about, I ain't gonna say most. Usopp's probably the most nihilistic in there, if we talking straight overall. But when we talk about like who's Robin, be really talking negative, actually, you know, in a lot of this, and it's funny. You know, it's really funny when you really look at it, like how she's the nihilist who was, but she wasn't doing that beforehand. She was probably doing it as to be like kind of, you know, saying it's more seriously, but like in a, you know, non. But now it's like she says negative things, and in like it almost sounds serious, but we know that they're strong enough to overcome a lot of those situations.
Your
But
mic
yeah,
cut out.
I know I stopped talking.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured when you said situations, it like cut out at the end of the word, so I didn't know if you stopped talking or not. Um, but yeah, it's and then you could think about Doflamingo's nihilism. Like the whole thing is like he doesn't think the world matters, and
Right.
I had an interesting thought about it because like if you think about it, devil fruits are like the power of a god. You know what I mean? Like even the
Yeah.
Zoan ones. And I don't mean like capital God, like Christian, Islamic, or Jewish god. I mean like a pagan god, like a god of the forest or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to have a devil fruit is to have the power of a god, to have the power of a deity. So Doflamingo's entire hustle is that he's creating false gods.
I could definitely see that.
Like he's creating false gods for a dragon. And if you want to think about it like in like the most biblical sense, the dragon was always a stand-in for Satan, right? So he's literally making false deities. Like he's harnessing the power of false deities to sacrifice them to Satan for the ability to keep living the life that he wants to. If you think about it from just purely a thematic sense, like just a, like if you
Because
just
the way they
motifs.
the way they treat Kaido is true calamity. Because the
Yeah.
whole plan is production. So Kaido
Well, also
Doflamingo.
he's a serpentine dragon, and so what's it called? Like dragons are seen like in like historical works as like sometimes they're associated with the devil, and then the serpent is associated with the devil because of the Garden of Eden. So having those two together, he's a serpentine dragon. So he's an agent of Satan, if you want to think about it. Like just purely thematically, not saying like Kaido isn't like Kaido is working for Satan, but if you just look at it from like a what's the correct word? If you want to look at it from a purely rhetorical perspective, you could see it as Kaido's a metaphor for the serpent of, or not serpent, but a servant of Satan, and so Doflamingo is creating basically cursed objects that have the chance to grant someone the powers of a minor god. So it's almost like Doflamingo is trying to create his own god, since he has no guiding principle besides, I want to live like my ancestors did because I deserve it, because my ancestors were celestial dragons. Like, that's like his entire thing, is he just wants to use Kaido to get enough power and prestige to force his way back onto Mers Joie. And like, that's the, like, and then Law's trying to end the offering of the false god, if you want to think about it just purely thematically. Law is dedicated to just destroying the Smile Factory to make it where he can no longer give these offerings of false godhood to the servant of Satan, in which turn will make the serpent of Satan attack Doflamingo. And it's like, if you think about it, like, it's very similar. Like, just theme-wise, that's kind of what happens at the end of Egghead, too. But, like, we don't need to talk about that here. But it's like a similar, like, theme is happening, where a man is offering up God, like, the power of God to something that hasn't earned the right to have the powers of God, in exchange for his life, or the life he wants. It's almost like a Faustian bargain. Like, if you want to think about it in that way. Like, Doflamingo's kind of sold his life to mass producing.
I mean, he's benefited off of it in his own way.
Yeah, but he's still selling his
like
life, because as soon as he stops, he dies.
Yeah, but it's not like he's it's not like he's in it. Like, it's not like he's, what I'm trying to say, it's not like he's innocent in his own ways. Like, a same servant of the same devil that he's serving. Like, in a way that he's so much is trying to become the exact same.
Yeah, like, he wants to, like, remember, another thing is, it's like he's giving it to Kaido. Like, if you want to think about it, like, he's this, like thematically how Kaido is a servant of Satan, and because he's the serpentine dragon. Doflamingo's feeding this, air quotes, deity power, or like godhood ability, or whatever you want to call it thematically, like from a thematic perspective. He's feeding it to the serpentine dragon, or the servant of Satan, to become a servant of Satan, because he's trying to become a celestial dragon. So, like, he's trying to become like Kaido. Like, he's offering up, like, if you want to think about it, he sold his soul to become like Kaido. From, like, a thematic perspective, he's basically selling his soul to be a servant of Satan. And then that's going to tie in with the themes that happen at the end of Egghead, because that's kind of, like, just from a thematic standpoint, the last, like, 2 chapters of Egghead, that's what happens, if you want to think about it like that. Like, just from purely, because, like, you could say, like, Emu is actual Satan from thematic standpoint, and
the actual head of the celestial dragon. So
yeah, but it's just from a thematic perspective, it just shows off, like, I just feel like it works well with the whole metaphor in the first place, with the celestial dragons being the last man. And then you could say the last man is actually Satan, because when you become the last man, you no longer care about life, and you just want to destroy life through debauchery and stuff, and being comfortable and stuff like that. But then you turn around and you don't have anything to live for anymore, and you're nihilistic and you're hedonistic, and you no longer have a reason that Earth should exist anyway, and you don't really care about anything anymore. That's exactly what Doflamingo's trying to do here, and that's why Luffy hates him. Or like the actions like
not
that.
Trying to do that's what he's pretty much already done to the.
Well, yeah, like he's done it on a country scale, but he's trying to get out of the country scale.
Yeah, like when he because when you talk about like that's the kind of sort of the thing as they what's the word they compare Dressrosa to Alabasta a lot. And you still there?
Yeah.
So I went out on my thing.
What's it called? I closed it because it was bugging out. I closed that thing. Yeah.
But so like when you talk about how when the smiles is like pretty much the false power and all that, the false power in Alabasta was
What?
them like selling them like salvation in a way. But in the smile, that's where we get into Kaido, which is interesting because now it's like I look at Kaido differently because of all this. But keeping it on Doflamingo, when we talk about this whole operation was pretty much his way into the underworld, which I think truly was ran by Kaido, which is letting all these all these theories, like I'm bringing it all back around. Like when you talk about how Kaido, so Law, which I love. Now I'm starting to like really love his name placement. Law coming in knowing that if he stops this one operation here, that your ties to the underworld will be cut. You know, like that's when we talk about like when you just talk about all the stuff you just said and then bring all the stuff in, like when we talk about Law, like I still go with that theory people have been saying, like kind of like sidetrack was not really what water. And, you know,
yeah, when we learned about it. Yeah,
like
when we learned
it. Trafalgar D. Water Law.
Yeah. Another thing is that we totally forgot about. Another thing that Doflamingo has his hand in is he's one of the big players in the slave trade game.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you remember, the one of the biggest auction houses was the one at Sabaody, and it was owned by Joker. Because if you remember, like, he's just like, the guy that was running it for him was just like, oh my god, something happened, Joker. And Joker was just like, well, figure it out then, dum-dum, and hangs up on him. Yeah. So, like, Doflamingo has his fingers in everything that you would think a devil would have their fingers in. And it's just like showing like he's trying to become one and make it up there to where the rest of the celestial dragons are. And I just thought it was worth pointing out. But the big thing that I think everyone already knows happens in these episodes, but Sabo's still alive. He meets Luffy.
Yup. Time to get on that, man. He this is bruh. Like Sabo mean Luffy. Like, cause like going through when Ace died, they gave us the flashback when they were in you know, God Kingdom and Hightown and, you know, Great Terminal, all that. And when Sabo actually, Oda let us to died. And
well, like there's the hint that he's still alive, but there's no telling what they meant because we see the dragon ship is parked at Zoro's school, the swordsmanship school, and they're just like, he's still alive but barely, like right after the episode, or it's like the end of the episode where Sabo gets blown up. But how they say it, it could be anybody. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be Sabo that they're talking about. It could be anybody.
But when you talk about how they led Luffy to believe he was dead the whole time, and I back.
But the big thing, we don't know it yet, but the only reason that they did that is because of Sabo had memory loss from getting blown up.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm talking about how it was led to believe going off pre all of that. Like pre when they tell us all of that. Like when you talk about the state of Luffy, when you talk about how intense it really was for him, because this Sabo coming back sheds light on Luffy's not alone anymore. Like he really wasn't alone. You talk about with the crew, but family wise, people who came back from that time, from his childhood and stuff. Ace was gone, and he was already led to believe that Sabo was dead. So Sabo, from this point, from when Ace died all the way up until now, it talks about how strong Luffy be, going through this, thinking he had lost both of his brothers. So Sabo to return back to him, it makes that moment even more just intense. Because now it's like he's not alone anymore. He has and someone who actually understands his losing with him again in his journeys, in his growing, who he still has. That's what I'm saying, what it did for the story and what it's going to do for the story. Like when you talk about how long where he ended up is crazy. They could have put him, even could have made him a rebel pirate. Father.
He could have done that.
Like I'm saying, like him returning would have.
Did you stop talking or did your mic cut out?
No, it went out. It went out. But I was saying, like him being a pirate, like him coming would have been great for any. Like the moment would have still been great either way. Like what faction he belonged to end up. And where he belongs, even better.
But like the whole thing with what's it called? With the whole Sabo coming back thing, it's gonna lead to a really dope fight scene with Isho. And that's what matters to me. Also, Isho has a couple of really good moments in this part where, like, you see, like, it feels like Isho is the cop that, like, how there's, like, the story of the cop that wants to change the system from the inside?
Yeah.
Like, that's how Isho feels. Isho feels like he's the cop that's trying to fix things from the inside.
I can definitely see that.
You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
That's how he comes off. Like, I'm going to see if I can find the exact quote because it was really interesting. But he's basically just like, just so you know, Duffy, when you're done with the Straw Hat stuff, I'm still taking you in. And he's just like, what?
On Green Bit.
No. When he's inside the palace.
No, you talking about the Flash, the little part where they was talking about when they was first talking.
No, there's a part where Isho just walks up where King Riku's like sitting locked up on the floor.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Dolphy's just like, I commend your decision, Fujitora. And Isho just goes, I'm not doing this as a favor to you, you understand. But with the Straw Hats making trouble and signs of more troublemakers lurking in the shadow, it seems the correct, air quote, move to make. We military forces have a duty to keep civilian casualties to a medium or minimum. If the Straw Hats' goal is to take your head, I doubt they'd hesitate to cause large-scale destruction. And that's what they mean to do. My justice dictates I must stop them. Taking care of you can wait till afterwards. And then Doflamingo's just like, what the hell are you talking about? You can't do shit about me. And Isho's just like,
That's when
yeah. He's like, I may only have been recruited recently through the world conscription system, but since then I've been granted the position of admiral, and I'd like to make good use of that position. I intend to abolish the entire Royal Shishibuke institution, so the 7 warlords. And then
that was when he first introduced that idea of him getting rid of the 7 warlords. I remember. Yep.
And then he has like the really hard line of, no matter the flaws of this nations are about to be exposed, I'll turn a blind eye, so don't worry about yourself. And the only eyes I can turn are blind. And then he walks away. like that. That's pretty hard. Like the only eyes I can turn are blind.
Exactly. Yeah. And you think like this is a moment where like the like I just said a while ago, dress to Alabasta, and in Alabasta, great home and great suffering, and when you get to Dressrosa, it's like same dude had been succeeding with this, had the government under. It takes an admiral of the Navy, like how you said, the cop who wants to change the system from the side to see all of this going on. It's the whole 7. You finna tired and you finna come for that ass.
But also, I like how he is, like the other admirals, we saw their sense of justice. Alkainu's just like, the Navy's justice is absolute. Aokiji doesn't know his true sense of justice yet. Like, he's still trying to find the one that he thinks is the most correct because he doesn't believe in objective justice. And then Borsalino's like in the middle. He's like, my justice is what it needs to be for my worldview. But Fujitori is interesting because he's blind, which is hilarious when you think about the metaphor for him being blind and having gravity powers. Is that Lady Justice, like if you look at an American court system, the statue of Lady Justice, she's blind. She's blindfolded because it's a representation of the belief that justice should be blind. Like, it should ignore certain things. Like, it should be blind to things. And then he controls gravity, and Lady Justice holds a set of scales in her hand, to take the weight of justice. And she holds a sword. So Fujitori is basically a metaphor for Lady Justice. Because he's blind, he has a sword, and he has the power to change to measure the weight of things.
Yeah.
Just like Lady Justice.
Alter weight, yeah.
Which is really cool. Like, all he cares about is protecting normal people too. Also, which is what the justice system is supposed to do. It's supposed to be for the normal person. It's not supposed to be like. That's why the idea of justice is supposed to be blind. Like, it's so that way people can't use it as a weapon. Like, his entire thing is that he doesn't want to be a weapon for the Navy to use, or like the warlords to use, or anybody to use. He just wants to protect people.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Which is just...
This is a lot. When you talk about Fujitora, because it's starting to explain a lot why a lot of people's views. Yeah. Like, he's like I say, he turned the story on its head. And like, his appearance, his debut, this is all his pretty much debut. Like, this whole arc, he really turned the story around when it's take the warlord system, move it, and that's a big thing. He they put the warlords in as like a factor for trying to keep the power kind of even, and for him to see where it's failed the people, which of course they've been turning the blind eye to up until this point, and wanting to change it, position to change it is like huge. And going forward, we can dig into that idea way more because we know what happens comes forward. That'll probably be towards the end.
But also, the reason that Lady Justice is blind is because it's supposed to represent that it is impartial and unbiased.
Yeah.
Which is like how Fujitora is. He's unbiased. Like, he just wants to save civilians. That's like why he's there. Yeah. But Lady Justice is an allegorical personification of the moral force of the judicial system. Like, but it's just cool with how they did, or how Oda did Fujitora, where he's basically just One Piece Lady Justice. Like, it's clever. I like it. I fuck with it. And he says some cool line, especially next week when we're gonna get to the "Why didn't you stop the Straw Hats? I didn't see him." I fucking love that line. He's just like, "I didn't see him." Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that's such a good line. And I love also like what we're gonna learn in the stuff. Like, it's just hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, that's just something I like to know, like, say about Fujitora today. I had to bring up because of the thing that really good line that he has. And then there's another thing I wanted to talk about today is Kairos.
Well, Kairos
being the toy soldier made out of tin. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I learned it this week actually from trying to find something out. I was just like, I wonder what kind of flower that is that he keeps leaving on Rebecca's windowsill, like inside the window. Because, like, you really only see sunflowers in Dressrosa. So I was like, I wonder if that means anything in particular. And I stumbled across a story called The Steadfast Tin Soldier, sometimes called The Brave Tin Soldier, depending on the thing. But it was published originally in 1838 by a Danish dude named Hans Christian Andersen, who's written some other fairy tales. But it's a fairy tale about a one-legged toy soldier who's in love with a pink princess, depending on the thing, which also fits because if you remember, Rebecca's nickname is either the Phantom Princess or the Princess That Never Was. So, but a ballerina princess that lives in a cardboard cutout castle. And he has to, like, go through all these trials and tribulations to make it back. And it's really cool if Oda, because I imagine Oda based Kairos' Tin Soldier design on the Steadfast Tin Soldier story, just because I don't think, like, he stole Kairos' story or anything. Like, before someone thinks that I'm saying that, I just think it's cool that he might have, like, here's a picture of one of the storybooks. It's cool that he might have based it off this story, because this story's almost 200 years old. It actually, in 14 years, it turns 200 years old. So I wouldn't be surprised if Oda heard it before and based just the design and the motif of Kairos' story, like the Tin Soldier, the Thunder Soldier Rageous story, off of him, just because that's really cool if that's what it is, because it just
I mean, this is
shows
so
how Oda is with stuff.
after you was talking to me about it, of course, today and before today, like looking at it is a very close comparison. Like just off the just the Tin Soldier thing alone, the additives of him changing back and things, how he depicted himself and stuff like some of the scenes and stuff they had. It is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just a cool thing to have, as like especially like because I imagine he did that on purpose. Like I don't see a world that he didn't base it off that on purpose, which is really cool. And then that's pretty much all I can think of for the like that like helps the metaphor. There's just like the story beats. That's
I mean,
next.
we covered like most of all the stuff that I had down that we wanted to cover. Like even stuff that we already covered a lot of it today.
Yeah,
It's
there's
just a lot of
just
stuff because it's like, um, what are we talking about? Because now we got like, Pika and all the other people moving in, which we covered them and how like they're puppets of pretty much Doflamingo and everything. I mean, I'm gonna. It's to showcase what's to come in the big obstacles that the Straw Hats are gonna face later. We get showcased a lot of that, especially with Pika and the moving castle and stuff. I'm actually excited to cover that because, like I said, I'm watching Zoro and Sanji's achievements and a lot of this coming stuff and how Sanji's being in this arc. We saw Sanji be the glue that's kind of being where it needs to be and also being the leader, that we know he can be if he's confident. He makes his decisions and has the comfortability in making his decisions. And, later we see Zoro versus Pika, which I'm starting to see Zoro is like a wall. He is the dude who's gonna like go in person and do the unnatural shit. Like his role's a little bit more complex, or not complex. I ain't gonna say complex. I say a little bit more straightforward than Sanji's role. But that's gonna be refined later, especially when we get the Zoro versus Pika fight.
yeah, I am looking forward to the Zoro versus Pika fight. I will say one thing, because the original time that I went through this story, I read the manga like I think it was like 2 months ago when I like caught up to One Piece. I didn't like some of the voice acting at first with the it sounded like a fake Spanish accent. And when I say Spanish, I don't mean like Mexico. I mean like actual Spain at first. And like at first it was like cuz like the accent came and went with some people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then like once it got and you hear the toy soldier talk more and more and more and he stops falling out of this like it like becomes more uniform, it works. Like it's like one of those I think it's just like a to taste thing. It took a while to get used to it. I'm not going to lie. Just cuz it's like some of it felt like people just doing voices and not very good voices. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt like some of them watched Spy Kids and was just like, okay, I'm going to try to sound like Machete. And then I'm going to try to sound like Antonio Banderas' character. But then once they got in the groove, it was the accents were pretty good. It just took them a while to get there. But it makes sense. Like, they probably wouldn't have the availability to get people with the actual stuff. You know what I mean? Like an actual accent.
Yeah. I mean, they tried it.
Also, like, we see Sabo's hockey is stronger than Jesus's devil fruit.
I don't think he has a devil fruit at this point.
I thought he had the strong fruit at this point.
I don't think he did. That's why he was going for the mare.
I thought they just wanted the mare fruit because Teach wanted it.
I don't think he did. I could be wrong. I could be hella wrong, but I don't think because it wasn't advertised having.
Okay. He doesn't have it yet. He gets it like right after this. Okay.
Yeah, because all that stuff that happens with this, because if he had the strong, so I think he gets lost at the Revolutionary. He washes up or ends
he
up
accidentally sneaks onto the boat, to Koala's boat.
And he ends up there, and then because I think if he would have had it, did real damage, but I think he had.
Yeah, but he gets like immediately like destroyed by Sabo, which I like. It's cool.
No, he not even just destroyed, bro. He gets the face.
I'm just talking about like he gets his butt kicked later on by Sabo, but I'm talking about in the ring, like Sabo hits him with the dragon claw.
He doesn't break. I thought this was where he breaks his face.
Nah, this is Jesus does the elbow and then Sabo hits the elbow, and it like crushes the armor, and it sends him backwards.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm back.
Where he uses the armament and like smashes the shit out of Jesus.
You're right.
Which is a funny line to say.
Outside.
Like when they get outside though, he beats the fuck out that man.
Yeah, we get outside and he breaks his face because he still.
Yeah. Next week he beats the dog mess out that man. Excuse me.
Because he has the fruit then.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. Like he's trying to make sure no one else gets the fruit here. That's why it's working like that. But like. Yeah. Even before the fruit, like you see that he's stronger than Jesus like he's the stronger one of the two pre-fruit here because his hockey mastery is greater. And then the
I think Sabo is the dude that's gonna let us. He's direct correlation when we see Dragon act.
Well, the thing that I like, if you think about it this way, the thing that's really cool that the idea came to me from I saw a piece of fan art, and it was just like the 4 previous generation monsters, like the 4 biggest monsters of the previous generation, are trained the prospective biggest monsters of this generation, like Whitebeard trained Ace, or not trained but inspired. So Blackbeard or Whitebeard inspired Ace, Shanks inspires Luffy, and then Dragon inspires Sabo.
Yeah.
Because like at the time, like Ace was like way up there on the thing because they tried to make Ace a warlord. Like in the Ace story, we see that they tried to make him a warlord and stuff like that.
And by proxy, one thing we've seen that's been kind of with Blackbeard's case in the most, but like even Buggy, we see the people who become warlords up not they stay strong and into it end up coming. So with Ace's track record, you can see he was on pace to become an emperor.
Yeah, he was he's the one Whitebeard wanted to replace him.
Yeah, if Whitebeard goes. Takes Whitebeard's spot. Yeah.
And then we know Dragon's we don't know how much of a monster he is, but based on how everybody else reacts about him, he's Smoker was immediately I don't want to smoke.
Not even that. You think about he's the leader of the revolutionary. You know, canonically with a lot of things, the subordinates typically are, if not weaker, have a different thing about them that doesn't make them. And I think with Dragon, we're gonna see. Because I think Kuma's pretty goddamn. And I know Dragon can be stronger, but it's gonna be some things that you're gonna look at this where he got it here, but we still don't know.
I'm betting money that
speculate about his
Dragon puts Kuma to shame. I would bet money on that hill.
Yeah.
There's no way he does it. Why else would Kuma listen to him?
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
then
mean?
just when you talk about Smoker and that whole interaction that
Yeah,
was
Smoker
it lost
immediately
down
went like, I don't want to smoke.
and cold, like cold, man. Like he went straight cold.
Yeah, he was just like,
Do this, man. Oh
I'll
yeah,
pass.
what? And this was when the point was like, what you got the whip? Like, well, what you doing here, Dragon? Why are you? Here? What? And
You
it's like
might cut out.
did it.
Yeah. But yeah, like, Smoker at that point, like, the toughest challenge Luffy's faced is just like, I'll let him go. My bad. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, whoops. Whoopsie daisy. Like immediate, like on sight, he's like, yeah, you should let him go. He's just like, my bad, dog. Like immediately, he's just like, my bad. I didn't mean it like that. No, please, Smoker, no smoke. Smoker, no smoking. Smoker, no smoking. Sort of thing. Like,
Nah, I do think Dragon.
Like,
Whenever
but
you
also
who
it could
Dragon
just be
is,
anybody.
monumental.
But we also knew he was like at least a captain in the Navy before he was just like, fuck this shit. Before he was like, this isn't good.
They haven't revealed his rank in the Navy yet.
But we know it's like
he was up there.
He was at least what Kobe is now.
There's ain't no way, I kind of hate him, but like really hates him.
Well, if I had to guess, he like, if like I was putting money on it, and it's just like you got to bet money on what you think he was. I think like my theory is that he beat Akainu for the previous spot of Vice Admiral, and then that's when he quit. And then Akainu just gets put there since he quit, and that's like, because Akainu, you can see he hates that shit.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm imagining. But next week is gonna start hard and heavy because we're gonna see Usopp finally be like, I can't run away. I got all these people relying on me.
It's the birth of God, Usopp.
Yeah, we get the birth of God, Usopp, and Usopp unknowingly using Haki. Like, where he activates and his observation Haki works different from other people's observation Haki too. You know, like how he did the observation Haki, it let him see people inside a room, like a very far away place. Like he could actually like see them inside through the walls with his observation Haki, which is very interesting. And it'd be cool if it's a new type of observation Haki, because the one that we know is the one that like lets you see how people are gonna move, and then like 100 episodes later we see like the see a second into the future sort of stuff. So I hope we explore what the fuck Usopp did more.
Yeah, I would enjoy that.
But yeah, I think that's all there is to talk about this week. I can't think of. Can you think of anything else?
All our bases. I think we've covered all our bases.
Yeah, I think.
I thought about because of everything else, we were right on the coast. Like this is pretty much like the second part. We probably end up having like 4 or 5 parts. What it looks like is definitely 3 more parts.
3 more parts of what?
Dressrosa.
No, I think Dressrosa ends next week, dude. Dressrosa's only like 70-year episodes.
We just did to
50.
75.
Or we started at 650. So yeah, remember Dressrosa ends at like 700.
No, it ends at like. Hold on. Yeah, nah. No.
What I consider Dressrosa goes longer, but like there's like. What's it called? Because Zoe starts. Zoe, for some reason, like Zoe is part, in my opinion,
is where Dressrosa officially ends.
Wait, is it just a bunch of weird stuff?
You got so.
Right now, I forgot about that. The fucking
we got the actual March.
700 is when we get the it's like 10 episodes of Law's backstory.
Yeah, we got Law's backstory.
So yeah,
We got White City, the white lead disease. Then after that, you got Law versus Doflamingo first.
I forgot about that.
Then the Baby Five stuff, the outside stuff. Bellamy and Luffy got their pride thing going on. Then you got the Hakuba shit with
well, that started like that started this week, but it finished like the real part. Stuff. Yeah.
Then we got Law's conclusion versus Doflamingo. Then the hockey clash with Luffy versus Doflamingo actually starting, and then Gear 4 stuff. Part 1. You got part 2 of Gear 4.
We gotta talk about the fact that people can't see hockey. It's just drawn like that so that we can tell the difference, sort of like the Demon Slayer stuff. So it explains why Doflamingo laughs so much when Luffy activates Gear 4.
Yeah, and then you got the post fight shenanigans with them leaving and all that.
Yeah, and then there's Zoe right after that. I think Zoe's only like 20 episodes. Zoe starts
the next saga.
I know Zoe's not that long.
Yeah, but Zoe's not a part of Dressrosa saga.
I know it's not part of Dressrosa. Yeah, Zoe's only like 30 episodes.
Yeah, because after 746, that's when we're in Whole Cake Island saga.
Yeah. And then, we don't got long until we're at Whole Cake, and then we get into the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, next year we're going to be on Wano.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're not having a good time.
Hey, man.
You know, but yeah, I think that's it for this week, guys.
Yeah, guys, y'all. We're going to part 2 of Dressrosa.
Yeah.
We're telling y'all now, after next week, we want the weekend of the 3rd.
Yeah, on the 4th. We won't be able to have an episode just because there's business stuff going on. Yep. But we'll be back on I believe it's the 9th or it might be the 10th. It's the 9th. I gotta say it right now.
Yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. Let us know if we miss anything. Y'all
it's the 10th.
It's the 10th. Okay, but that's what I thought.
We'll be back on the 10th. Yeah. We'll be back on the 10th. Normal time, around 11-ish. But yeah, we're just letting y'all know now that on the 3rd, we won't be able to because of stuff. But we're not going to do a double episode on the 10th. It's just going to be what would have been the 4th or the 3rd's episode. So we're just going to... Just because it's the easiest way to do it. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all have a good week. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Anything you noticed that we didn't notice in the story that you think we should have talked about, shout it out in the comment section. That way, when we start getting comments about that stuff, we'll dedicate like the first 10 minutes of everything to like that, like talking about those specific things. Just because it's like, in my opinion, the best way to have the engagement, you know? Like, cause personally, like if I'm watching something, that's how I'd like them to answer my questions at the very beginning. So that's why I would think we should. Or if y'all would think it'd be better, we could just make a separate like 10-minute video right before we go live where we talk about all the comments and stuff. Y'all let us know down below which idea y'all like more. Because at the end of the day, we're here for y'all, you know. So, but yeah, I hope y'all have a good week. This is Corrupted.
And that's Dragon.
Signing off. Y'all have a good one.